All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Main Parts Missing. Today I'm going to be doing Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or Philosopher's Stone, however you want to see it. This isn't like every single thing that's missing from the movies, but it's just things that I thought were kind of important that they missed out. So part one is the Dursleys. Man, the Dursleys. They really, I don't like them. But anyways, a lot of the, like, how normal their life was until everything hit him. Like, he had his normal job. Everything was just, normal. What do you want, Alb? Huh? And, they didn't show a lot of, like, the shooting stars and all of the owls and stuff. Well, yeah, that's pretty much, they didn't show a lot of, like, what was going on before Harry came, or before, all that stuff happened. The letters from no one was way too short. They could have made it a lot better, is just what I'm trying to say. He first got the letter in the book, they moved Harry into a different room. So that was kind of important, just to show that they were like, don't take my bookmarks. Pretty much to show that they knew where Harry was and they're not going to stop knowing where he is. So that was a pretty important part. And then the part where Harry tries to steal the letter, that was a good part in the book, because you kind of see that Vernon isn't like dumb. Like, he knew that Harry was going to try and do something like the next morning, so he was waiting there for him when he did it. They went to the hotel after, and the thing said, Harry, Mr. H. Potter, room 17. And they're like, well, this is crazy. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have on the Dursleys end of it. Hagrid and Diagon Alley. Hagrid gets to the shack in the book, and he pretty much explains a lot of the stuff that they kind of like separated throughout the movie. They didn't stay the night there, just to really tick Vernon off and just stay there overnight and sleep there. And then when Harry wakes up in the morning, he smells like food, and the Dursleys like gave him nothing, and so Hagrid gives him some sausages and stuff. Harry has his first encounter with wizarding money when he has to pay the owl, so he has no idea what any of that stuff means. They get to Diagon Alley, and another important part that I thought that they should have put in there, I think they put like a little like snippet of like what it says, like their motto or whatever: enter stranger, but take heed of what awaits the sin of greed. For those who take but do not earn must pay most dearly in their turn. So if you seek beneath our floors a treasure that was never yours, thief, you have been warned, beware of finding more than treasure there. They are messing around with what's in their bank. Meeting Draco's ass for the first time in Madame Malkin's robes for all occasions. He is just such a prick. I mean, I know that he's like troubled or, something along those lines, but gosh, he just doesn't have any remorse. And this is where Harry learned what Muggle meant, but he had no idea that there was such a controversy between Muggles being able to go to wizarding schools or even be a part of wizarding world, which I think is messed up. Like, if you have something in you, then you should get to go. Draco and his family were just the peak of petty. So the next part I have it wasn't a huge part, actually. When I first started reading it, I thought it was gonna be a bigger section for this video, but not really. The Harry's last month with the Dursleys, they were kind of like, I don't think you got the sense as much that Aunt Petunia and Vernon were like scared and frustrated because they just didn't want to be a part of this in the first place. They kind of got thrown into it. I feel like in the movie, Harry, they showed as like not dumb, but just not as smart as he was in the books. Like in the book, he reads his books like every night. There's no way he didn't retain something from that. I was very surprised, even just in general, that the Dursleys were going to take Harry to King's Cross. Like, I thought for sure they were just like, nope. It's just going to be a joke because 9 3/4, like, what is that? Like, that's dumb. They said that they had to go to London the day that he had to go to King's Cross to get Dudley's pigtail removed. And I was curious. I was like, where are they gonna go? Like, you can't. How are they gonna explain it to an actual doctor? So I wasn't sure if they were going to St. Mungo's or not. I don't know. Harry Potter fan right here. Hogwarts was, super lit the first time that they ever saw it. And one thing that I thought they should have put in there were 2 songs, okay? The Sorting Hat song, which I'm not going to read the whole thing. You may not think I'm pretty, don't judge on what you see, blah, blah, blah. They should have had that in there because that's like a key thing like each year. I mean, I don't know, I can't remember off the top of my head if they did it in every book, but the Sorting Hat always comes up with a new song every year for when people come in. So I thought that was really cool. And then the school song, I know they did a deleted scene of it, and I don't even remember what movie, but it's funny. And I love that Dumbledore is like, music, a magic beyond all we do here. Because, I mean, like, I'm a music person, and, like, it is, like, a magical thing. Like, music can move people, and it really does a lot in people's lives. When they're waiting for anybody, the ghosts come up and, like, visit them before anything happens. So that was kind of, like, why didn't they just, introduce the ghosts right there instead of another time? It may seem like at parts of this I'm just trying to make up stuff to, talk about, but maybe I am, maybe I'm not. I don't know. Tea with Hagrid. May not seem like it was that big of a deal, but again, in the movies, they kind of mixed up where certain information got told. They went to Hagrid's hut and they found out, okay, here's my example. They found out about the break-in at Grignot's, but in the movie, they're sitting at the table and the mail comes and they read about it and hear about it. Another thing that I have no idea why, Seamus always blows himself up in the movie. I don't know if it's supposed to be just for, like, the comedy effect of the movie, but that never happens in the books. And in the book, sorry. They could have had other, like, super important things, like under the trap door or something happens that they could have put in, but they didn't, but they've got Seamus blowing himself up. Like, you meet Fang for the first time, and then you hear about Charlie and how he works with dragons, Ron's brother and stuff. The Midnight Duel. The first time in the movies that you see that Draco steals the Remembrall from Neville is when they're at the flying lessons. But he actually does it the time before it, just to show how much of a he is. He did it before that as well. Super petty. And then when he gets up in the air and throws the ball, like, in the movie they made it seem like Draco got that arm, like, damn, he could throw that far. But in the book, he just sort of, tosses it up to make it, like, drop, hit the ground, break, or whatever, and Harry, like, dives for it and catches it, like, right before it hits the ground, which is, like, what a real seeker wants, not, like, some, like, reach and grab like he did in the movie. Draco offers to duel Harry. Like, he's ready to scrap him, apparently. But then, as it turns out, he's just trying to get him out of bed so they get in trouble because he's a... Anyways, they find the room with the 3-headed dog, which isn't quite how it did it in the movie. They were, like, on the stairs or whatever, and we're like, oh, like, what door do we take? Because, they're just 3 dumb kids. That's how it actually happened. They were going to duel with Malfoy, but turned out to be a trap, but they were Gucci. Halloween! The Nimbus 2000 comes, and there's, like, a letter and everything from Professor McGonagall, like, hey, this is for you. Don't open it right here. But in the movie, they're like, oh, let's open it right here. Doesn't matter. Oh, this makes up a new scene for Seamus to blow himself up or something. Why did she buy it for Harry? Did she even buy it for Harry? I don't know. But if she did, why? He's got plenty of money. He could have bought it himself, but I don't know how he would have done it, but someone would have bought it for him. Just, why not buy it for some kid who actually needs it? Snape. Now, Harry starts to first suspect Snape because, he's a dick. He takes Harry's Quidditch Through the Ages book, telling him library books aren't allowed outside, some bullshit rule that he's gonna take 5 points away for. And so Harry was so upset about it, he was like, you know what, I'm gonna go ask him for it back. Like, I'm back in school, like, why can't I just have it? So he goes up, knocks on the door. Then no one answers, knocks again, no one answers. You get that 2 times, so you just walk in, 3rd time, walks in, here's Snape talking about, like, how are you supposed to get past, like, the 3-headed dog and shit. And then he gets all mad that he sees Harry, and, like, you can tell that he wasn't going to punish him because he knew Harry knew something now, so he was like, just get out, like, leave right now. At Christmas time, this would have been some perfect foreshadowing in the movie. Fred and George, you know, it's Christmas time, there's snow everywhere. They start throwing snowballs, right? Then they start throwing snowballs at Quirrell. And they start hitting him in the back of the head with snowballs. And I think you guys can put 2 and 2 together here with what Quirrell's got back in that turban. Spoiler alert, it's Voldemort. What's up with the Happy Christmas and the Merry Christmas? Like, come on, JK, come on, Warner Brothers, wherever the hell put the movie together. It's Happy Christmas or it's Merry Christmas. Pick one. Draco and Nicholas Flamel. Draco put a leg locker curse on Neville, which they didn't show in the thing because I guess they didn't want to make Draco such a bitch that he is. Hermione, like, undid it or whatever, and Harry was like, this is where you're like, Harry's a good guy. Like, he's like, you know what, Neville, like, you're worth 12 Malfoy. And he's like, wow, thanks. And then he hands him the chocolate frog to make him feel better. And Harry finds out about Nicholas Flamel on the back of the Albus Dumbledore chocolate frog thing. Not Hermione. See, they're making Harry look dumb as usual, but it's not. It was Harry. He found that shit out. The second Quidditch match. They never showed the second Quidditch match. Ron starts a fight with Malfoy. Like, they start scrapping because he's talking shit about his family and talking shit about Neville. So, no one knows. It doesn't say in the book. It doesn't do anything in the movie about who won that fight. But I'm going to go with the Gryffindors beat up that Slytherin ass. But that's just me. Harry sees Snape walking into the forest after the Quidditch match. So he hops up on his broom, rides out to the forest, and is like, hey, like, what's going on? And Snape's talking to Quirrell about, like, yo, like, you better figure out where your loyalties lie, bitch. So otherwise I'm gonna f you up, Norbert. This is where they just messed up super bad. Charlie, Ron's brother, is the one that takes Norbit. Why do I keep saying Norbit? Damn. The reason that Harry, Ron, and Hermione get detention, while Draco too, is because they're going up to the tower, the astronomy tower, to give Charlie Norbert. And then they lose the cloak, which never happens in the movie, but if they lose the cloak, he just leaves it up there because he's smart but dumb, Harry is. Next up is the talk with Firenze. Don't know if I'm saying that right. Don't really care. Harry learns about, like, what exactly or who exactly is after the Sorcerer's Stone because it's the elixir of life and Voldemort is looking for eternal life, you know? He's wanting to come back, you know, gain power and all that stuff. Unicorn blood is kind of explained to him, to explain to Harry by Firenze, you know, that it gives you a half-life, but you're, like, alive, so it's like a cursed life, that kind of thing. Hermione's skills. I feel like they made Hermione look a little too dumb in this movie as well, but I mean, whatever, not me. They're at the potion room, you know, she's got to solve this riddle, like what she has to drink to go through, what do you have to drink to go back, and so she figures all that out, and then Harry goes through and Hermione stays back. Would have been dead, Harry would have, if Hermione wasn't there. The end, which has probably by far the most parts, Harry doesn't pass out from Voldemort's, like, spirit thing flying through or whatever. Harry blacks the fuck out because he's using the power, I guess you'd call it, that his mom gave him for sacrificing her life for him, the power of love. He's using that so hard on Quirrell that it's just blinding him completely, and then he hears someone saying Harry, which I believe is his mom, you know, screaming Harry, like, as she's dying, and then he blacks out from that. Dumbledore, when Harry wakes up in the hospital wing, Dumbledore, you know, talks to him and everything. You get a lot of information in that last, like, little bit when he's in the hospital wing. Dumbledore tells him about how the cloak was his dad's and he gave it to me, and then he tells him about how Snape, like, feels like he owes his dad, apparently, because his dad saved Snape's life, and they didn't really get along, just like Malfoy and him and Harry. When he gives the points in the movie, it just kills me because he doesn't give the points to Hermione. Like, he says cool logic in the face of fire. Like, that was a good play on words there, Dumbledore. Still makes me so mad that they didn't include the potion room with Hermione. Also forgot to say that they would have been dead in the Devil's Snare if it wasn't for Hermione as well. So there's 2 parts that Harry and Ron would have been dead without her. And last but not least, the exams. The exams always, like, don't even matter, except to Hermione. And, like, I understand, I guess, but even in the book, like, they're not, like, how, like, oh my gosh, like, we have to pass, and, like, we are so worried about this. Like, they talk about it, like, a couple times, but then it's just like, yeah, whatever, we got bigger to deal with. And then they're like, oh, yay, we passed the exams, just like we do every year.